Just off Scotland's rugged west coast lies a small island shrouded in mystery. It's only 3 kilometres long, but it's home to rare animals, ancient legends carved into the rock, and a history that stretches from Celtic saints to something far more unexpected. I had just 4 hours to explore, climbing to its highest peak, meeting its wild residents, and uncovering traces of those who came here centuries ago. This is Holy Isle. Welcome to Holy Isle, just off the coast of the Isle of Arran. I'm actually on Arran on a family holiday at the moment, but I've come over for the day. You can do a day trip over here to Holy Isle and you get 4 hours on the island. So I will show you what this island is like. The journey over to Holy Isle is run by a company called Lamlash Cruises. The journey from Lamlash on the Isle of Arran takes about 20 minutes and costs £25 for a return ticket. Something interesting about this island is that no dogs are allowed because there is quite unique wildlife that can be found here on the island. There are 3 types of large mammals living on Holy Isle: the Eriskay ponies, the Sannon goats, and the soy sheep, which were hanging around in the area where the boat docked. If you've seen my video from St Kilda, you might recognise these sheep. The soy sheep are named after the tiny island of Soy in the St Kilda archipelago. Soy Island is one of the hardest places in the world to reach. There's no harbour and sheer cliffs surround it. That extreme isolation, combined with the harsh environment, has shaped the soy sheep into a hardy, self-sufficient breed. Unlike most sheep, they shed their fleece naturally, so they never need shearing. The flock on Holy Isle was brought over from St Kilda in 1971. By the university's Federation for Animal Welfare, who owns the island at the time. On Holy Isle, they roam freely and pretty much ignore humans. Here on Holy Isle, when you arrive, they do a briefing and they show you the map and explain where to go on the island. So there's quite a lot to see. First, I'm going to head to the highest point of the island. Before I start the walk, I'd like to say thanks to Incogni, who've made it possible to film this video today. If you haven't heard of Incogni before, they are a personal data removal service. They contact companies called data brokers and get your personal information removed from their databases. Data brokers are sneaky companies that are collecting and selling our personal information. Things like our name, telephone number, email address, even things like our shopping habits and job titles. And they collect and sell all this information without our permission. What I really like about Incogni is that it's not just a one-off cleanup. They keep monitoring these data broker lists and automatically send removal requests on your behalf whenever your information pops up again. You also get access to a dashboard where you can see all the removal requests that have been successfully completed and also the ones that are still in progress. I find that really reassuring. If you'd like to take control of your data like I have, Incogni are offering 60% off their annual plan. You can use the code RuthAshling at checkout. You can go to the link in the video description below, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. As I am walking up the hill, I've started walking through this area full of heather, and the heather is in bloom at the moment. It is so beautiful. The hillside looks all purple. The reason I actually decided to come over to Holy Isle is because for the last few days I've been staying over there in Lamlash and looking out at Holy Isle, and I saw a sign for a boat trip and thought, I want to go over there. Let's go and see another island. And the views from Holy Isle back over to Arran are incredible. Holy Isle is around 3 kilometres long and around 1 kilometre wide. It's owned by the Rockpath Trust, part of the Kagyu Samye Ling Buddhist community in Dumfries and Galloway, the first Tibetan Buddhist centre in the West, founded in the 1960s by lamas who fled Tibet. The current abbot, Lama Yeshe, was gifted Holy Isle in 1992 by its former owner, Kay Morris. By the jetty is the Centre for World Peace and Health, based in the old farmhouse, which runs retreats in the warmer months. Everything from meditation and mindfulness to yoga, tai chi and interfaith gatherings. A small number of people live here year-round, but it's not full of monks and nuns as some people imagine. Most residents are volunteers, caretakers or retreat guests, with just a few Buddhist practitioners in long-term retreat. As I've been walking, I've come across some horse poo, and there are actually some very unique ponies here on the island, which, fingers crossed, I'll be able to see today while visiting. This is the path, so almost at the top of the first hill here, and then you need to go down and then up another hill behind it. I'm really hoping to see these ponies or horses that are here on the island, because these are some of the rarest ponies in the entire world, and they've been working on a breeding program here on Holy Isle, and it's been very successful. Okay, made it to the top of Holy Isle. Woohoo! This is Mullach Moor, the highest point here on Holy Isle at 314 metres. It was a bit cloudy at the summit, but when it's clear you can see for miles, even across to the Scottish mainland. Sat down to have a little picnic after the trig point. That was quite an enjoyable hike to get up here. It took about an hour to get up, and the views are amazing. One of the best things about coming here is the lack of people. Because there's a very limited number of spots on the boat, I think they only take 8 people on each boat trip, and they do a boat trip over 11 and 12, and then you get 4 hours on the island. So there's only 16 day visitors on the island, but there's obviously people staying here long term. But having a little picnic here, having a banana, and also some Arran oatcakes. These are the Woolies oatcakes from Arran. They're very good. If you come to the Isle of Arran, you must try these. And also some Arran cheddar as well. I think this is the garlic Arran cheddar. I have continued walking, and some of the ponies have come into view. These are the Eriskay ponies, one of the rarest pony breeds in the world. They come from the tiny Hebridean Isle of Eriskay, south of South Uist, and their roots go back to Celtic and Norse times. They're small but hardy, with thick, waterproof coats that let them live out in the Scottish weather all year round. They're also known for their intelligence and gentle temperament. I was standing here filming the horses behind me, and then one just appeared. Right here, they're so tame, just such beautiful animals. Because Eriskay is so remote, the ponies there stayed purebred, while other island ponies were crossbred. But by the 1970s, there were only about 20 left, so they came very close to disappearing completely. Thanks to a few dedicated locals, the numbers have slowly recovered, but there are still only a few hundred in the world, so they're classed as critically endangered. The ponies here on Holy Isle were introduced in 1971, at the same time as the soy sheep. They live completely free, with no stables, no fences, just roaming the island and finding their own food. The lady who was on the boat with us said that the younger ones are the ones that are brown, and then when they get older, they turn grey, like humans. I thought that was quite funny. So the white coloured and grey coloured ponies are the elders. It's amazing how close they come to you. They're so friendly. They're not as timid as the Shetland ponies, but they're still very friendly. went off-piste to look at the horses, and I'm actually on the island with my mum and I've lost her. So I don't know where she's gone. She took a different path to head down and see the lighthouse. I can see my mum. She's all the way over there. She's so far away. Okay, I think she's waiting for me because she's not moving. I'm going to head down there. As I've been making my way down, I've come across this building here. Oh, it says on the outside, Wisdom Palace. So I made it back down to the path. There is an interesting lighthouse, which is one of 3 square lighthouses in Scotland, and it is round that way. Pillar Rock Lighthouse, built in 1905 and designed by David A. Stevenson, was the first square-shaped lighthouse in Scotland. It was constructed to guard the main channel into the Firth of Clyde. At 23 metres tall, with its light positioned 38 metres above sea level, it can be seen from up to 25 nautical miles away and flashes twice every 20 seconds. It's been automated since 1977. As I was walking down the hill, I passed some hobbit houses in the hillside, and they have glass fronts, and I was standing in front of one of them and looking in the window, and then there was somebody sitting in bed drinking a cup of tea. Oh, how embarrassing. Reunited. Hello. Mum doesn't want to be in the video. I saw the horses. How was the lighthouse? Good? Yeah. Now we're going to go and check out some interesting caves. I passed the island's second lighthouse, the Inner Lighthouse, which was built in 1877. Beside it are buildings that house a closed retreat facility for Buddhist practitioners. I was keeping an eye out for goats, but didn't spot any. Holy Isle is also home to a wide variety of wildlife. Around 20 to 25 species of birds breed here, and you might also see seals, dolphins, minke whales, and occasionally basking sharks. Walking back along the shoreline now, and they told us that you can see otters along here and also artwork on the walls. We did pass someone, and I think they might be doing a retreat here, maybe a vow of silence, so said hello but didn't get a hello back. So sometimes people are doing periods of silence when they come here to the island. I find it quite interesting that all of this is happening here on this island, because it's not what you really associate a Scottish island with, is it? But quite interesting nonetheless. I was reading on the website here about the right to roam. So in Scotland there's something called the right to roam, and this basically means that you can go somewhere and you can explore, you can camp, as long as you arrive by non-motorised transportation. And they have asked here on the island that you don't take advantage of the right to roam, because you could technically come here by kayak, for example, and camp on the island. That would be legally allowed, but they ask that you don't do that. There's actually quite a lot of misunderstanding about this right to roam in Scotland, to be honest, especially when it comes to campervans, because people think, oh, you can wild camp anywhere in Scotland. That's not the case, actually. Going by campervan, or even by a car with a tent box or a car with a tent, that doesn't follow the right to roam, because you are arriving by a motorised vehicle. It only applies if you're in a non-motorised vehicle. So yeah, kayak, bicycle, by foot generally. On the way back here, there's this thing here called the Healing Spring, and it's a little water spring, but you're not meant to drink it, they said. Oh, it's very cold, but the water's quite stagnant, so yeah, I don't think I'll be filling my water bottle up from this. I have now arrived at the entrance to the cave, and look what there is at the entrance to the cave. I'm not sure what type of skull that could be. Maybe a cow? I'm not sure. I doubt it's a dinosaur. Cave is hidden away up here in the ferns. Oh, loads of nettles here. Yikes. Oh, I'm gonna get stung. I know it. Here it is, the cave. Wow, interesting. It's not very big, is it? This is St. Lamlash's cave. He was an Irish monk who lived here as a hermit in the 6th century. He gave up a royal inheritance to live a simple, solitary life on Holy Isle. The island was actually named after him, Lamlash, which over time became Holy Isle, and the village across the bay, Lamlash, also comes from his name. Inside the cave you can see old carvings, simple crosses and even Viking runes from when Norse visitors passed through. I have made it inside the cave. Some caves you go to in Scotland, they're very narrow to enter, or some of them have huge big chambers inside, but this one has a huge opening and it's quite short. It's quite different to some of the other ones that I've been to. So interesting to be inside. You would definitely be protected from bad weather and rain if living in here. Oh, the fly keeps going. Go away! I headed back to the pier and stopped to check out the vegetable garden, which was full of life and colour with so many beautiful flowers. It's been such a lovely day trip to Holy Isle, and I'm so glad I made the journey over to see this special place. If you want to watch my video about the nearby Isle of Arran, I'll link it below. Thank you for watching and see you next time.